Hey guys, my name is Zan. If you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, hello again. It's been a little while since I've done an update. I am going to try to do, at the very least, monthly updates, as you know, as far as like the whole pregnancy thing goes, and my my goal of talking about that in context of my disability and how those two end up either going decently together or potentially not, depending on how the next few months go. It's been a little bit since I've done an update. The last month has been really not great. It's not been a great month, especially as far as like fatigue goes. So with my disability, I have really terrible fatigue anyway, but layering the pregnancy fatigue on top of that has just destroyed my energy levels. I really anymore can barely get through the day with, without taking a nap, like a 2 or 3 hour nap. I barely have, if I go out in the morning, I am dead for the rest of the day. If I go out for the night, I end up falling asleep really early in the evening. So my energy levels have just been really down the tank. And so I think that's one of the major reasons why I haven't done any videos, is because I just have not had the energy physically or mentally to be able to do that. I'm feeling decently today, but that's pretty much because haven't done anything today except for read. The family has gone on a trip to Springfield, so I'm house sitting for them while they're gone, and I just haven't done anything, really the bare minimum. I have read, I have eat and drank water, and I've taken the dogs out, and that's been it. Well, a friend of mine came over and visited for a little while earlier, which was nice, but that was, I think actually that helped kind of energize me a little bit, because when my mood gets down, then it affects my energy levels too, and I was not feeling in the greatest of moods last night and this morning, because of something that happened yesterday that I will talk about here in a minute. But so I think my friend coming over kind of helped lifted my mood a little bit, which kind of helped energize me. But yeah, yesterday was Friday, today's Saturday. I was supposed to have my first OB appointment, and this clinic that I had picked out, I had heard really great things about this clinic, and one of my boyfriend's aunts used one of the doctors at this clinic, and then one of my friends from dance class used the same doctor actually at the clinic for her gynecologist. And so I had heard really fantastic things about the clinic in general, not just this one doctor, but the clinic in general. So I was, really excited. I knew I was getting, I knew I was going to a good hospital in and of itself, and then I knew I was going to get like a good clinic on top of that. But my experience was way less than stellar. The way that they set up in their office is the first appointment you go to, you only sit down with a nurse, and the nurse gathers your like family history and your pregnancy history and your reproductive history and all that stuff. And then they do some like blood work and urine test and all that to confirm the pregnancy, and they give you an estimated due date and all that stuff before they set you up with an actual OB. And then the next appointment that you schedule with them, I think it's supposed to be like a month or something after the first appointment, is with the OB. So yesterday was my appointment with the nurse, and she was not very friendly at first anyway. Like, she wasn't smiling at all when she first called me back. She wasn't smiling, and she just had this air of like she didn't want to be there, or at least she didn't want to be interacting with me. And I tried at first to keep the mood decent, because I thought, maybe she just needed to, get to know me, or, get comfortable being with me, or whatever. But she didn't. She was very rude. When I was giving her history of my disability and stuff like that, chastised me for not going to physical therapy, to combat muscle atrophy, and which is another rant for another time, about insurance and all that stuff. But chastised me for that, told me rather rudely that I had needed to get my pregnancy confirmed before I had set up my appointment with them, and that I shouldn't have been seeing them without getting my pregnancy confirmed. And when she was like, we'll draw some blood today and get your hormone quantity levels for the HCG hormone, and then she said, so we've got 8 doctors here at the office that are currently taking new patients, and one of them is a male. And I told her, I was like, I don't want to get put with a male. I don't mind who you put me with, but I won't see a male doctor. And she was, again, very rude and was like, well, we are a group practice, so if you won't see a male doctor and you won't accept that he's part of our practice, then this isn't the practice for you. And I was rightfully, I think, a little upset by that, and told her, I was like, Lee's Summit, which is where I was going to go to my OB, I was like, this area is the most accessible to me, considering my situation, and everybody else, practices with either majority male doctors or more than just 1 or 2, and so that this clinic was like the best that I could, come up with, and I just don't want to see the male doctor. And she was like, she repeated what she said and was like, this isn't the practice for you. And I tried to ask questions and see if there was some way that they would be able to work with me or accommodate that, and she just kept getting increasingly more rude and kind of combative a little bit too with that. And long story short, I left the office crying. I was so mad. I had tears of, it was like tears of hurt, but also tears of anger. I was very, very upset. And that's not even the whole story. There were other things like, it was just, it was other things, but it's a long story, and it's too much to dwell on, if people are interested, I will share the full story. But, my boyfriend's aunt, had gone with me, and, she was shocked too at hearing, how they had treated, or how the one nurse had treated me, because, the family, Joseph's family has had really good experience with this clinic, and so it was just really super shocking, and so she ended up taking me out to lunch to Panera, which was, I won't say it made everything better, but I did get my favorite soup, which was nice. And then, we came home, but I was very upset last night. So now there's only one all-female clinic in the Kansas City area, and it's actually not even in Missouri, it's on the Kansas side of the border, and it's not going to be completely accessible for me, which is why I had wanted the Lee's Summit location. So now I have to, call around and do some research and see if, anybody at this point would be willing to, accept me with me not wanting a male doctor. And, so yeah, it was not a great experience, and it was very frustrating, and, the way she acted about my disability, or me telling her, what I knew about my disability and what I knew about my body, and, it was just, she was very condescending, like she didn't think that I knew best about my body, I guess, and that was really disappointing. But anyway, moving on. I already talked about the fatigue and everything. I have had a little bit of nausea. They call it morning sickness. It shouldn't be called morning sickness. It's just sickness. But I have had a little bit of that. Not a whole lot of actual vomiting, though. Just a lot of, upset stomach kind of stuff. But it usually helps if I eat, a piece of toast or something. At the beginning, when I did my update last month ago, whatever it was, I was having, cramps, in, my abdominal cramps. There we go. That is the abdomen. I know my anatomy. So I was having some abdominal cramps. Those have since calmed down, and I have not had those, very few of them, I should say, in the last several weeks. I haven't yet noticed any effect of my pregnancy on my disability besides the fatigue. So I haven't had, any more or any less PNES episodes since I've been pregnant. It's stayed about the same, about the same inconsistency, I should say, with with how inconsistent my episodes usually are anyway. So I guess that, that in and of itself is fine. But it really hasn't been too terrible yet so far. I am starting to show just a tiny bit, just a little bit. Maybe I notice it, I think, because it's my body, but it's definitely not noticeable to anybody else. Joseph noticed a little bit too. But he's more intimate with me, of course, than the rest of the family. They're not all, hugging and touching my belly all the time, but, I am starting to show just a tiny bit. And that's kind of about it, on the whole pregnancy side of things. So I guess before I sign off, I'm going to do a couple of general updates. I am going to California, this Tuesday, actually. I'm going to go to visit family for about a month and a half, approximately. I'm not coming back until the second week of August. I think it's the second week. Excuse me. So I will be doing some vloggy type stuff when I'm out in California. I might have my dad be a guest and have him talk about, his experience with, me being disabled, and have him, talk about that stuff, because I think that's really important. I better go get the dogs. Anyway, the other really quick update I have for you guys is I am going to be getting my wheelchair. It is coming to the DME company the week after I'm going to be gone to California. So I won't actually get my new wheelchair until I come back in August, which is gonna suck. But I'm very excited, and I will do some videos about my wheelchair and talk about that, and talk about the process that it has taken to actually get me the wheelchair. So anyway, the dogs are barking for me outside. I gotta go get them. I will sign off for now, and I will see you guys in the next video.